We're ready to go?
Yes, we are. We're recording.
Thank you. I'd like to call the meeting to order for November 26th, 2024. Would you please rise for a moment of silence? Thank you. Please join in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Thank you. And Paula is absent due to an illness. Roll call, trustee Sheets.
Here.
Trustee Hunter here, trustee Good. Here. And we'll go on to visitors. Hannah, thank you for being here tonight via WebEx.
Thank you for having me and have a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go on to our visitors and we'll turn it over to our IT department.
Thank you. For the record, my name is Todd Hurley. I'm the Director of Information System for the City of Grove City. Address is 3226 Kingston Avenue, Grove City.
I can sit up here if you'd like.
I'll give you some information. This is more of, for me, today it was more of an audit or an inventory of what we provide for Pleasant Township.
Thank you.
Chief as well. I think you have it already, but first part of it was the top of the page is payments that you make to Grove City for the various things. So you got two items that you have with us. Obviously, our IT support. The other is the fiber connectivity to our fiber network. And then it allows us to provide some of the stuff on the second page here. And then for me, I did an audit of our the contract that we signed, and actually I looked at that. We signed that January 1 of 2018. So we've been here for 7 years and provided your support for that during that time frame. So the stuff on the bottom of the first page is stuff that we provide as a part that was spelled out in the contract, and in the addendum to that contract, it gave the details of the things that we provide and per contract we're required to provide. The second page, kind of as we go forward, as we went forward, we've kind of found some opportunities to make some changes. So the stuff at the top of the second page is stuff that we provide Pleasant Township, at no cost to Pleasant Township. So we provide you your phone service, so phone system, we dial tone, we provide the internet in the building, the secure internet, the public Wi-Fi. We provide you firewall services. So this year, the City of Grove City upgraded our firewall. It's the second iteration of that that we've done. So in the last 6 years, Pleasant Township has a separate zone in that firewall. So you guys are firewalled off from us and the other townships we provide IT services for, as well as the city. And we do that, as a part of a security measure. File server and storage. So all your network storage and stuff is provided. It used to be when we first started here, it was in the closet in the hallway. And now it resides in the data center in Upper Arlington. It's the former CompuServe data center that's there on Arlingate Drive. Backup endpoint security, we provide network infrastructure. So when we first came in here, we replaced some of the network equipment with stuff that we had retired, but still had some useful life in it. And actually that equipment we've had for 7 years. It's well past its life. So that kind of leads to the bottom part when we get to that part of it. Access control and cameras. So there's 3 cameras in this facility that we provided. You're on our bigger camera system that we manage. And so I know that the chief, there was a desire to add some cameras to this building. And so that's one of the things that I think was at the bottom of the list in terms of the things that we can talk about. But probably the biggest reason that I'm here this evening, and it's a reason that's not new across Ohio, across central Ohio, is the security landscape of our environment, or in the environment that we're in, has changed drastically in the last several years. Nobody can speak more to that than the city of Columbus and what happened this last July. And so we've been making changes in our environment over the last several years, and we're at that point where I've sat down with Prairie Township, Jackson Township, Jefferson Township, on you folks tonight, and I need to talk to Sayada, but a big prevention measure that can be put in place that would prevent what happened to the city of Columbus is multi-factor authentication, meaning everybody's gone to that, where you try to log into a site, you get a code that's sent to you, you put in that code, and that's a way for a second method for authentication. So we would like to implement that in your environment here. So the top bulleted item at the bottom, the multi-factor authentication, the 2,500, it's based on the number of users, and depending on what level we buy, the price could be slightly different, but 2,500 would cover that. And what that would do is it would allow that when you log into the computer here locally, you're going to get a push notification to your phone. You would go, okay, yep, and you click a button, and then it allows you. So that's that two-factor authentication. So that if someone's account was compromised and someone's trying to log in from wherever, by having that implemented, that's going to help prevent that unauthorized access when you're on network. Now, when we start to talk about extending that further, so whether it's the fire system that's used here, ESO, that's correct, yeah, or any other cloud-based services like, say, web access to email, and that would be another step to that. But I think the first place that we should start is securing the infrastructure you guys have in place, so the computers in the station, in the building, and then we can go from there as things are going. We're at the point now. So the city of Grove City carries cyber insurance, cybersecurity insurance. And part of that rider is having multi-factor authentication in your environment. So again, not knowing whether you guys do or not, but it's one of those things that we've sat in probably 5 different audits with OTARMA. And when they come in, and that's one of the things that they've asked us at the other places. So not knowing what your audit cycle is, that's something that they will want to ask and want to know what the status of that. And so to me, that's another benefit to that is coming compliant with some of the things that are being required going forward. And so since the top part of this page kind of lays out what we provide Pleasant Township, and you're on our infrastructure, we're at that point where we have some liability or risk involved in what we're providing if we don't implement this. And so that's one of the reasons that yes, it's going to benefit Pleasant Township, but it also benefits the infrastructure that you have in place with us. I think we looked, and I think we have, you guys have 11 servers that we use for various functions throughout the some of that is directory sync, some of that is exchange of information to your fire application, file share stuff. So when the chief stores a document or something he's created, it resides in the data center in Upper Arlington on our equipment. And I didn't mean to put this together to say, hey, I'm coming for more money. That's not the point. And we understand that our endeavor, or our providing service for Pleasant Township, is it's a losing venture. We understand it is with everybody. With Jackson Township, Prairie Township, Joe costs me more than what they pay us, and we know that, and that's okay. But part of why we do what we do is because we look at it as a shared service model. We're being a good neighbor. We know that today Pleasant Township, Jackson Township, Prairie Township, Jefferson Township, Sayada Township are all in a better position because we partnered with them, and we're structured in a way that to add on the additional services that we outline here at the top of the second page, it's not costing us that much more because the way that we're licensed, the way that we're structured. So, and to me, it allows us, a lot better control over the region as a whole in terms of, okay, everybody's doing the same thing. So after you look at all the 5 fire departments, they all use the same systems, the same stuff, because they can, and because we've developed that expertise and that knowledge in those areas. So the top 2 items on the bottom are really the ones that are important for us to address. The network equipment that we have in this building was put in here in 2018. It was stuff that we had retired and we had replaced. It's gone end of life a couple years ago, and we really need to address that. It's no longer supported. So if we would have a failure today, we no longer have the inventory or stock to say, okay, we're going to replace that. We would have to buy new at that moment, and then there would be a lag and some downtime until we got that new equipment. So I think the top 2 things, if we could, if we could ask for your consideration in the coming budget cycle to do that, those things would get us a long way down the road to continuing to be secure and reliable in the services that we provide you.
Are those one-time?
Yes.
The first one, is that a one-time cost?
The first one's a one-time cost. The top one is an annual cost.
Okay.
And then the other things going down from that, I know that when we met with the chief last week, there was, I think at some point in the past, there was a desire to add some additional cameras. We have 3 cameras now today that are on this building that we record on our systems, and so the video actually never stays is never on site. It goes into our stuff that's in another building. When you start to add more than about 3 or 4 cameras, then we really want to consider actually having a what's called an NVR. It's a network video recorder that records the video here, and then it stays on premise. It's not traversing the connection that we have for you, you guys. And then there's other items there, one to note, the second from the bottom, Windows 11 upgrades by October of 25. Windows 10 goes end of life and is no longer supported at that point. And so I think when we were talking with the chief, we were going to do an inventory of the computers that you have that can be upgraded. It's a free upgrade from Windows now or Microsoft, but you have to have the hardware that supports that. And I think there's maybe a handful of computers that need to be replaced because they're not supported on Windows 11. So those are the kinds of things that we want to look at and I guess bring to your attention, ask for your consideration, so that as we move forward, we can continue to protect you guys and provide you the service that you guys, I guess, have grown accustomed to getting from us. And then the other part to this, I guess, and it's not on this, is if there's something that you think that we need to do differently or we need to do better, it's always been my philosophy, and it's my philosophy in life, is that we look at, and when we do something, the first person that I need to look at is the person in the mirror and say, okay, how can I have been better? How can we do better? And it's a large part of what we do. We will whitewash or do after action reports of some of the projects we do, and okay, this went well, this didn't go well, how can we do this better? When we run into a circumstance or an instance where we have an issue or there is an issue, how can we next time maybe put some measures in place to prevent that from happening? And so that would be the other thing that I would ask is, and you don't need to say tonight, but if there's something else that we can be doing better, I know that we would like that. I know that there's another project too that we're aware of that's being driven by Jackson Township and I think Prairie, is the locution project, and that is the station alerting. So that may be new to you guys. I don't know if they shared that with you guys. We're aware of it because it takes dispatching data that we provide. So the city provides, is doing dispatch for Jackson, Pleasant, and Prairie. Out of our dispatch center, that dispatch data would be transmitted to this building. It would be done automated. and across our network instead of across the radio waves. It's a more consistent connection. So that's a project they're working on, they're driving on at. So just be aware that they may come knock saying, hey, we want you to participate. And because we dispatch for you, it would make sense that would happen as well. So just to make you aware of that project. So outside of that, unless you have any questions, I'll leave you this information. And like I said, the top two items are ones that are for us are really important that we address those in the coming year.
So the on-site camera server.
Yep.
2,500, is that a one-time?
That's a one-time.
cost or-
That's a one-time cost. And then that, like I said, then that would give you the ability when you add cameras and want to add cameras to this building or to this complex, that we can do that without choking the connection we have for all the other things. So the public Wi-Fi, the network connections, the services that we provide run across that same connection. And so we want to make sure that, when you start running 10, 15 cameras across that connection, you would notice a difference in performance. And so we don't want to get to that point.
And the GoDaddy access.
Is what we were talking
Do you
about.
have a ballpark?
There's no cost to that. We just need to work with you guys to restrict. Like I said, there are 8 global admins for your GoDaddy email account, web account, all that, and there should not be that many. And so we need to find. There's 3 or 4 in there that we're not aware of what they are. They're not descriptive enough to know. I think we have 3, and that's a number we're pretty comfortable with. That way, 2 people can be gone, and if there was something urgent, we could still access that account and maintain that account. But 8's too many, and so there's no cost to that. That's just something that we need to address and come up and figure out. Depending on what services and what, like I said, what we were talking about earlier, maybe with the fiscal officer, that we can work out the appropriate level of access for that into that system or onto the network here if that person's going to be providing support for her.
Todd, what about, because I know a lot of IT departments do training and stuff for employees and to prevent them or educate them on where to go to or not to go to. Do you guys do that?
Yeah, and actually we had that conversation with Jim Jewell, the administrator for Prairie, and their folks this past Friday. When we look at the multi-factor piece, there's going to be training that's involved in that. And what we're doing right now, so we're midway through. We've trained 160 some people at the city, and I still have about 100 and change to go. And that's mainly in our police division, and we're doing 2nd and 3rd shift trainings. But we would offer to come in and do that security awareness training for the township and anybody that has township accounts, or anybody. It does, if it's a part-timer that doesn't have an email, it's just, the training that we do, you can apply it to what you're doing here at work, but it applies as much or even more for what you do in your personal life. And so one of the things that we really stressed in that training is password management and how you handle passwords. We use a software called Keeper. We talk about that. We go through the training and that kind of stuff. But really, we talk about the importance of, let's say Randy has her Kohl's account. It's an online account. She likes to shop online. So she has an email and password combination for that. Well, that email and password combination should not be used in any other thing. So on her Amazon account, her banking, whatever it might be. So it's those kinds of things that we can talk to employees and talk about. And your password shouldn't be password, or it shouldn't be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or those easily guessed passwords. And the feedback that we get from our associates is that most of the time they're learning more that applies to them personally. And to me, that we like that idea. So if we're protecting our employees better, then we're also, it'll transfer what we do here at work transfers to home and vice versa. And so to me, we can come in and do that training. We like to do that at least once a year, face to face. not that I'm the most exciting speaker, but people, when they listen to me and or whoever's doing the training, and if Joe's doing the training, that it gets conveyed a little better in a face-to-face conversation rather than you sitting down and watching a 45-minute video and taking a test at the end. So we want to make sure that we do that, and we can provide that. We've offered that to everyone else when we sit down and talk about some of the things that we could do, because statistically, 88 to 95%, depending on which study you adhere to, 88 to 95% of the cybersecurity incidents are related to end user errors. So, and that's typically by clicking on a link or falling for some phishing email and giving up compromised accounts. And so by doing security awareness training, the reduction in that reduces that number down to under 20%. And so it's one of those things, we do that kind of training, and then we also use a product called KnowBe4 when we actually test our employees. We send simulated phishing attacks out on a monthly basis. They fail, they have to go back through remedial training. So when we started out doing that, our very first test, we were about almost 60% of the people failed. Today, on a monthly basis, when we do that, we're anywhere between 3 and 5%. So if you think of that number, it just takes one time for an incident to occur, and then I think it's 2 Mondays ago, so 2 weeks ago, I saw the news story where Columbus is now just 84% restored after almost 6 months. And to me, that's catastrophic in that regard. I mean, yes, they're much larger, and I'm sure that they have more systems to bring back online, but if we can prevent any of those types of incidents from occurring, then that's the benefit of coming in and talking to each of the firefighters on 3 different shifts. We come in 3 different times. It's usually less than an hour. If I get a little too chatty, sometimes it might sneak north of an hour, but I think that's one of the things that's important for us to do is convey the information that will make you a better employee, but also protect yourself at home. So yes, we can do that. Long-winded way to say yes. So.
And this is all stuff you're looking to get done for 2025.
Yeah, I mean, but like I said, the top two
things.
the top two, and then the cameras and the video storage, that really depends on if you guys want to add,
Okay.
if you decide, hey, we don't want to add cameras, then those things can be kicked down the road.
So the top 2 things are pretty necessary, and the rest we can kind of do with as we want
The
to.
third one from the bottom, the office accounts, and that just depends on, you are either purchasing new office software because the version that you have has gone end of life, or you're looking at Office 365, and that's kind of an annual subscription cost. Instead of spending $300 for the one, you're paying $6 per user per month, kind of thing. So it's kind
The
of
good news on that front is, sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
There's only 2 computers you'll have to upgrade Office for, this one and the one in the ready room. You're using Office 365 already. Office licenses for the rest of your computers for you and the officers. So you're set there. You just have 2 licenses to purchase at like $400 or $500 a piece.
Was mine gonna be outdated?
Your
My laptop?
it's
No,
on the
it has.
bare minimum. It's the bare minimum that we can upgrade. So we had talked about maybe looking at replacing that next year if we have the funds. It will work.
Okay.
It's the bare minimum.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I use mine, but I use it bare minimum too. So.
Okay.
So, and we can put more specific numbers to this as we go forward. I just wanted to kind of put some ballpark stuff so you go, okay, this is going to cost me 8,000 or 80,000, so you guys have a little bit better feel for what those numbers look like. We'll get actual quotes and get them to you, and when that time comes. But I wanted to kind of preface before we start sending you stuff and say, hey, you guys need to do this, but understand that we're trying to be as diplomatic as possible, but the top 2 things truly need to be done, and just wanted to come and make that request face to face, and then also, I know that it's been a while since I've been in, but usually that's a good sign, so nobody's screaming or yelling. And
We appreciate you guys. We know you guys do a lot for us, and
Absolutely.
help us out a lot and we really appreciate it.
There are two things that I would make you aware that we were in the process of doing. So one, as I mentioned on the second page, we provide your secure internet and public internet. We're making upgrades in those regards. So our public Wi-Fi, we've had intermittent issues with. We're going to a fiber-based circuit. So, and plus we're adding about 40% capacity to that. So that's a kind of something we're doing, but you'll benefit from that as well. The other thing is our phone service. So we signed contracts this week. So today we have phone service. Your numbers really come into our safety complex, and we have two different services there. One split out for our police and fire numbers are split differently. But they come into the same building across the same wire. So we signed a contract where we're actually splitting those. So half of them will come into our safety complex. Excuse me, I'm sorry. The other half will come into the data center, and there's automatic failover for those. And so again, we're building redundancy in our system so that we still operate a call center where voice calls and that are important. And even when they're not coming across the 911 circuit, so anytime somebody would have a security alarm, that they have alarm company calling, they call our non-emergency numbers. So yes, they're titled non-emergency numbers, but when someone's breaking into your house and your alarm's going off, it comes across that phone service. Same if you had a fire alarm and that kind of thing. So those kind of monitoring companies will call those numbers. So we want to build some redundancy and make it a little bit more robust. And so that's a part of it. It also gives us the ability that when and if we would ever experience a telephonic denial of service where somebody has a computer just flooding our numbers, our police and fire numbers, that we have the ability to block those numbers and that. So there's additional functionality that we're building into our system. So those are two things that probably never see and know about, but those are the things that we're doing on the back end. And like I said, we did our firewall upgrade this year. We did a fiber upgrade this year. So our connectivity to the data center is 100 gigabit redundant network. Stuff that's just global, you don't have to remember that, but it's stuff that we operate under that principle of how we operate our CIC. We want redundancy at every level, and so that's some of the things that we have done. So I'll stop talking because I've talked way too much. Wow. So any questions? If not, I'll shut up and leave.
Thank you.
No, we appreciate you.
All right. Appreciate it very much. Yep. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Anytime. Thank you.
I am going to.
Oops, sorry.
Thank you.
Have a good
Yep,
evening.
thanks for your time.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Okay, go on to our next visitor. Leora, am I saying your name
Yes.
right?
Spelled wonky.
I got on the website and I thought it spelled right.
Perfect. For those of you who haven't met me, my name is Leora Willis. I'm the Ag, Natural Resource, and Consumer Horticulture Educator for The Ohio State University in Montgomery County, which services Dayton majority-wise. In August, we partnered up with Jefferson Township Fire, which is our local fire department, as well as a couple of our larger grain producers, and we realized we had a problem. We really wanted to provide a training to our first responders. We worked with Ohio Fire Academy, Ohio Farm Bureau, and we were able to host that training, and you guys had 2 attend. So our commissioners were gracious enough to provide the department and the township with a proclamation on their behalf. And I will read it. It is really lengthy, but I promise I will not be here longer than 90 more seconds. So on behalf of OSU and the Montgomery County Board of County Commissioners, whereas the Jefferson Township Fire Department, in partnership with Ohio State University Extension Office, Montgomery County, the Ohio Fire Academy, the Fairgrounds and Event Center of Montgomery County, the Montgomery County Farm Bureau, Viewbreaker Grain, and Roland Farm Services successfully hosted a 3-day grain bin program for first responders across the Miami Valley. And whereas ag is the leading industry in Ohio and is considered one of the most dangerous industries according to the National Safety Council, using the Grain Comprehensive Agricultural Rescue Trailer, first responders will gain knowledge to safely evaluate the hazards associated with grain bins and where to successfully extricate a trapped victim. Whereas this course covers several agricultural hazards, including entrapment, engulfment, confined space issues, and the requirements of first responders before the specifically trained help arrives. And whereas the proper training of first responders is crucial to the safety of residents, preparing first responders for these kind of events will save lives and improve the outcomes for those involved in agricultural disasters. And whereas Montgomery County is thankful to have jurisdictions like Pleasant Township who are committed to the improvement of safety and emergency response in the region. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Montgomery County do hereby recognize and thank all of those involved in bringing this essential training to our region's first responders. I will give that to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Want to say anything about that?
No, I'm just, I'm very grateful that because, our guys had the opportunity to go down there at no cost and we're able to go down there for a day and train. So it's a good opportunity for us to take advantage of that, especially since we have the agricultural, rescue trailer here. We're the only ones that have one around here and a lot of people rely on us. So the more people we can get trained in that type of rescue, it's very important because in the township alone, we have over 40 grain bins. And since we take on Fairfield Township, we have a lot more too. And then other departments will call us and utilize us. So the more people we get trained and it's great that the OSU group has put that on so we could get that at no cost. So thank you. And thank you for coming in, Dawn.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, we will move on. Let's see, no minutes, but I do have Paula's financial report. Payroll for 11/19. Gross was $49,482.34. The IRS payroll taxes, $9,043.63. State, school, and local taxes for October, $5,424.75. Deferred comp was $580. CME HSA deposits, 285. Checks, there were 22 checks total, for $15,588.97. Okay, and I will make a motion to pay our expenditures tonight. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Roll call, trustee Sheets.
Yes.
Trustee Hunter, yes. Trustee Good.
Yes.
Now we'll go on to department reports. Deputy Atkins.
Evening, everybody. Thanks to Atkins. Last 2 weeks, we had 114 total runs.
Want to come up here and then you're on the camera.
We had 114 total runs, 13 reports, 5 citations or arrests, 12 traffic crashes, 16 medic runs, 2 thefts, 1 stolen ATV in the 9800 block of Alkire, 11 traffic offenses, and no motorcycle ATVs or bike complaints. The ATV that was stolen was on the 11th of November. It's out of a detached garage. We are trying to track that down. We have a few leads, so the investigation is over. Yes.
Thank you. Hey, road department, Rick.
Equipment repairs, what we've been doing, and headstone footers and transitioning to one operation.
And where did you go today?
Up to help the county engineers, done a bake sale for them, and the money went to, I got it written down there.
Well, I have it all mixed in.
Okay. It was the food bank, what it was,
Middle-high food.
Mid-High Food Bank, yes.
Okay.
And part of it was live and part of it was Where you just write down your name, whoever gets the highest, and I never got a total on that, so you might ask Todd, he might hear the total in a day or so. It's kind of interesting and kind of fun.
Thank you for lending them your expertise.
No
in
problem.
Auctioneering.
They didn't get much, did they?
Okay, anything else for Rick?
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go on to Fire Department, Chief.
All right, yep, I've come up from, here, because I want to show something we got donated. For the fire department, apparatus medic 231 still on. There was an issue with, communication issue with them, and so I'm not getting it back till January, so, but I think we got that straightened out. So far for the month, we've had 80 runs. Equipment wise, we had to repair the generator on the ag trailer. We updated rope rescue equipment and put it in service. We had rope that was over 10 years old, and so we replaced that and some new hardware to meet current standards. Currently, we're looking at 2 AEDs for 2 vehicles. We have some EMS state money grant that we got, and probably we'll get a grant from OTARMA, which will allow us to get 2 AEDs, so all our vehicles will have AEDs or a monitor defibrillator on them when they're out and about. Training, today we did, 3 unit did a multi-agency training evolution in the park. It was on lost and injured hunters. We had an injured hunter that was, that the scenario stung by a bee in a tree stand and going into anaphylactic shock about 25 feet up. So Prairie was there with us, Metro Parks, Grove City Dispatch. We worked off one of the fireground channels, and we actually, our firefighters had to go out, treat the patient in the tree, and then get the person out of the tree. So setting up a hauling system and lowering them about 25 feet out of the tree, which was one of the current techniques that some of our guys learned in rescue school that was very effective. Station, our biggest thing here we had was a well pump went out over the weekend. Actually, Thursday is when it went out. And we were able to get it replaced temporarily. Today, the plumber come out and replaced it with a new pump and repaired the well casing. And that's done. That's been completed. It's all been completed. 2 unit did some miscellaneous painting and drywall around here. We're changing who we utilize for our HVAC work. People we were using before weren't responsive to us, so we found another local contractor that we know is very responsive to us. So for getting our updates. Community risk reduction, we did 1 foster home inspection, numerous building inspections, installed some smoke alarms. Billing wise, we're currently working on reporting that is required by the feds for Medicare, Medicaid, and the required date was pushed back to May 31st, 2025 is when we have to have the final submission for that. So we're currently working on that. I have 2 things here. The first one is I have a bill for Blair Drilling and Pump Service, and they're the ones that come out and replace the pump, re-weld the casing, and it's in the amount of $3,500, and I would like to get that approved tonight so we can get the contractor paid. They were very, very patient and come out here, and they were out here, spent all day on Friday, left and had to come back because we had issues, and finished up. It was probably about 10 o'clock Friday night. So they were out here most of the day Friday, and then come back out today and spent most of the day finished up, cleaning that up. So that's for $3,500. I'd like to see us get that paid. One of the other things, and I wish Robert was here to speak about this because he's the one that took them around. The Robin Hood Electric come out and looked at our whole complex and looked at all the lighting that we had, and they made a number of recommendations. They were looking at adding floodlights, along the north wall of the building shining into the parking lot. They talked about replacing wall park lights with new brighter units, cast more light. And all lights will be controlled with photo cells to eliminate human error in turning them on. And they're also looking at putting motion activated security light back behind the salt barn. And their estimated cost for that was $6,260 to do all that lighting and for the township, for the building. That would light the whole complex up. And the reason, and like I said, Robert spent time with them, but the reason we went out for this is because a lot of the complexes are starting to get robbed, have been getting robbed, fire stations have been getting robbed. And we're concerned about all the equipment that we have, for people's personal vehicles, as well as everything that we have outside in the road crew and everything. And then last but not least, the Shriners approached me about writing a grant. We wrote a grant and we were able to get a brand new thermal imaging camera. So they sent that to us, and this is our new camera that we got. So it gives us one extra tool. We're going to be able to we'll have a couple cameras that are available to us, which is going to certainly make it easier on the fire ground when we go out there. You know, especially with, we can have one on our tanker, one on our engine. And as the guys get married up on runs, it'll make us more effective, especially if we have a live search and rescue and we have people trapped. But I just want to make it known, the Shriners burn unit are the ones that donated that to us. So
it wasn't a grant, it was a donation?
that was a donation. I had to write for it, but they donated it to us. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And about what is the cost of that?
I want to say it's about $4,500 is what it was.
Did we get them a thank you note or?
Not yet. I just wanted to bring it to the meeting first, and then I will send something out to them.
Okay.
And if you would like me to include you guys,
Yeah,
I will.
very nice of
Yep.
them.
Yep. So, yes.
I knew they were expensive. I just.
Yeah. It was nice. My neighbor brought it to my attention, and he actually come down and said, "Here, you need to do this application and do this. And so, because I know he is, he does things with children in the community. That we met up one day, and because I had a bunch of Beanie Babies that I gave him for all his kids that he works with in the community, and so he brought that to my attention. So
Nice.
it's good. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, all right, that's all I have.
So the, for Blair, for the water issues, is that what you were talking about? That's the total amount?
Yes, 3,500. Yes.
I'll make resolution 79 to pay Blair,
Water wells.
Blair Drilling and Pump Service.
well drilling and pump service. $3,500.
Yes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, trustee Sheets?
Yes.
Trustee Hunter, yes. Trustee Good?
Yes.
Thank you.
On this other thing with this lighting, it doesn't sound like it's real urgent. Can we maybe put it on?
Yeah, I
Our
think
next year radar to?
I think we talk about it. I mean, we don't have to do anything right this second, but I thought we got a quote. We can look at it and see where we're at as we get into the next year.
Okay.
Did
Yeah.
he say how long that quote was good for?
Um,
And one thing I would caution you, if you're gonna do that, we're going into bad weather, longer seasons of darkness. And that's all exterior work that those guys would have to do.
I did not ask him that. He did not put how long it was good for. They actually did some electric work for us before, and they've been very good, so I'm sure it's, yeah, but I can follow up with that. But I think I agree, we put it on our radar and look at, see where we're at, right? Yeah.
Okay.
And trustee Sheets has renewed your notary, which is a process anymore. And I would like to make resolution 80 to reimburse trustee Sheets for his notary renewal in the amount of $95. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, trustee Sheets,
Abstain.
trustee Hunter, yes, trustee Good,
Yes. That's about $90.
95.
95.
Okay, and any other new business? Old business? Have an announcement that the Reads Across America is coming up quick. It is Saturday, December 14th. It will be at noon. And Robert has already volunteered you all to put the little flags around. So we know where to put a wreath. And at Oak Grove, I believe it was close to 170 something we put.
I think I'm on 70, 180 right in there.
And then we put, we had enough wreaths to do Ebenezer, and
Gundy.
there were like 5 they're off Norton Road at Gundy.
Oh, it was actually a great event last year. I encourage anybody who would want to go. It was very cool. Very cool event.
It's very nice when you guys put those little flags, so
Helps.
tremendously. Okay. Almost not here. We have one speaker sheet. Alicia?
Well, I had a question for her on, for the fiscal officer on the 25th. I requested documents. She acknowledged my email on November 4th, but I've not heard anything since then.
I have them.
Oh, you do? Okay. Perfect.
Okay, that was easy.
That was easy.
Is there anything else?
I have them.
Then I will make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Roll call, trustee Sheets?
Yes.
Trustee Hunter, yes. Trustee Good?
Yes. There's something on the light, right, where the pins are. Sir?